start just after 11 o'clock as some folks are still dialing in here, but appreciate everyone dialing in. Talk to you soon. An assistant athletic director with a development team here. Been honored and privileged to work alongside Coach Randi and the volleyball program. Coach the current coaching staff for the last, 2-3 years, year plus, whatever we define that. And then Wake Forest as a whole for the last 5 or 6 years. So appreciate you all being part of this call. So we teased this a few minutes ago, and I think this is the perfect entryway into our conversation. Randi, it's the second time in back-to-back days we get to see each other, but man, the stories that we had going back and forth yesterday, and I think we hit on the new hit streaming TV show of the COVID period, and we'll get more into what everyone's been doing during COVID, but I kind of think we hit on a 5-star, top 10 Netflix award-winning program. Randi, I'd love for you to just share a little bit about it. It's kind of like the news update of what you all have been up to during COVID, in addition to selling this new streaming TV show that you're going to launch.
For sure. I think we have found what we're doing for our future recruiting. We're going to stream it live. I've been really busy, but I know my 2 assistants are just really casual. They just had a baby 3 months ago. So I have been blessed to be at their house. I don't know. Let me see. Last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I almost have my own room, and we're going to call this show 3 Coaches and a Baby. So we have been tackling recruiting. The floodgates opened up for the 22, the kids that are graduating in high school in the 22 class. They are available to talk to on Monday. And on Monday, I think as a staff, we had 34 phone calls. Tuesday, we slowed down a little bit at just over 20. Yesterday, I believe we had anywhere from 10 to 13. Today, I've been on a lot of Wake Forest phone calls. So Becky and Jake have already hit the recruiting trail. So today, it's only been 2 coaches and a baby. But Caden's a hit. I've got a picture of the family, and they are darling. Let me see. I see that. So we've got Becky Hong and Jake Hong, and the newest addition to the Wake staff is Caden Hong. Becky joined our staff in August, and Jake joined our staff in January. I lie about my age, and I've said that too many times, so now everybody knows that I lie about it. But I've known Jake for over 15, probably closer to 20 years. He's from Northern California. In the volleyball world, we've been together. And the first time I asked Jake to come work with me, I was at a school in Los Angeles. And I don't know, Jakey, it had to be like, I don't even know when you got out here, but he said, I can't, Randi, I'm taking a job at a college called High Point University. I'm moving to North Carolina. And I said, where on earth is that? And so who knew that about 10 years later that I'd get to work with my best friends who are absolutely amazing at their jobs. And we get to, the 3 of us, our hearts are in building a family, building a program, building something to be proud of. And I get to do it with my best friends who are amazing. So we've been busy. This is the first time I haven't seen them like within a 6-hour span. So I'm sure Caden's crying because he's missing me. Probably not, actually.
I'm looking for the IVs of coffee that Jake and Becky must have from the all-nighters and then the recruiting calls. Y'all look fantastic. Oh, there they are. There it is. It's going to be too far from the TV screen. And then, Jacqueline, if you're on, and I see your video's been going in and out, but hopefully you can still hear us. I imagine you just can't wait to get back and start babysitting and be part of the coaches and team in a baby situation.
Absolutely. This is my first time using WebEx, so I'm a little have technical difficulties, but absolutely. I was able to see them and the baby for a little bit when I came to move out of Wake, but I cannot wait to get back. I said they'd have a free babysitter for life.
Yay! Best news ever. He loves Jacqueline and Aunt Randi.
Well, Jacqueline, that free babysitter for life. I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. So if that translates or transfers at all, we'll be sure to take you up on that as well.
The artwork behind you.
Yes, that's not my artwork for everyone on this call. I've been working on staying inside the lines, but this is the 5-year-old COVID artwork. Appreciate everyone again dialing in. We're going to hit on a lot of those questions that you all had submitted in advance. Again, please open invitation to use that chat box for some ongoing dialogue throughout the conversation. I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's the second time that Randy, you and I have seen each other these last couple of days. Yesterday, we actually had a all-staff open forum that was supposed to run an hour, ended up running, I think, an hour and a half, close to 2 hours, just because of the dialogue and conversation we had during that open forum. But the reason I bring that up is it addresses some of those questions that have come in specifically these last few days as we've really, as a department, faced social justice concerns throughout Wake Forest, throughout our greater community. And it's something that we as a country and really the world have looked at, I think, and have worked to actively address specifically these last few days. Randy, the question had come in, what's Wake Forest doing? What's Wake Volleyball doing to address concerns around social justice that have, again, prompted or been brought back up here over these last few days?
Yeah, thanks for the question. We've been meeting with the team since COVID's hit in March. We meet every Tuesday night. Going over a book is what started it. And what we've done the last 2 weeks is open it up for communication. Working on some open and direct communication hasn't always been easy. The first week was a learning. Everybody was kind of testing the waters, feeling each other out. And we brought in a wonderful friend of mine this last week to help navigate and ask some direct questions. And I can't thank him enough for joining that phone call, Mr. Dwight Lewis. And the team's learning. The girls are learning. I mean, we talk a lot about the team being a family and teaching them unconditional. And it has started some really great dialogue and difficult dialogue. So we're going to continue that. We've got books that we want to read. We've got some videos that we want to watch and just learn. The girls on this team are beautiful, inside and out, great thinkers, great voices. And I think this is just another way for them. We're encouraging them to listen and read, and then ask questions and listen again. So we want to hit the ground running with this team. I think that they're great role models for the community, models for volleyball, and as student athletes, and just to keep empowering them. We also, and the staff and Becky and Jake, and we were talking about some great ideas. We want to reach out to the local colleges and get volleyball out into the communities that maybe we haven't hit. It's a tough sport to be a part of. It's not like you just go see pickup volleyball games, out of the playground. So we want to get into some areas and teach this sport. I know the sport changed my life. I can't believe I'm sitting where I'm sitting today and doing what I'm doing. And it's 100% because of volleyball and somebody mentoring me. So we would love to do that.
It's been inspiring to see throughout the department is how student-driven and student-athlete-driven the conversations have been, to see our Student-Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, really take it on as a open conversational point and leaning on folks like Dwight to help guide those conversations. Again, it's been inspirational to so many of us that view it and kind of don't know possibly how to address some of the conversations, but to see it be student athlete driven and engage in that direct dialogue has been inspiring. Jacqueline, if you're, sorry, go ahead, Renee.
You got it. I was going to say you have the right person on this call for that.
Yeah, and it sounds like these Tuesday night meetings or the Tuesday night conversations, I'm sure can get inspirational, can get emotional, can get go in a lot of different directions. Jacqueline, how's it been just trying to stay engaged with your teammates and with your team? I'm sure it's not just the Tuesday night conversations that you all are having. I'm sure you have your own ways of staying connected. But if you don't mind, just share a little bit about what it's been like since you all left campus in March and have tried to kind of stay to somewhat of a routine and normal schedule over these last few months.
Yeah, I think we've done a lot. I think technology has obviously been a godsend during all of this. You know, when we first came home for spring break and doing Tuesday calls, that wasn't just it. So we actually started little group chats with, you know, groups of 3 people trying to bring incoming freshmen in, and just because it's sad that incoming freshmen normally they would come in the spring, and so we're trying to keep them engaged and keep them in the loop so that when we get back in the summer, hopefully we can all, you know, create a family even while we're apart. And during this time, I'm on the student athlete advisory committee, and so is Caroline Kuhn, who's also on the volleyball team. So it's been incredibly inspiring to see the action that we've been able to take and the changes that we've already made in some Wake Forest curriculum and groups that we formed. Both of us are both in the outreach committee, and there are classes and seminars that are already finding their way into the curriculum. So it's been great.
Jacqueline, one of the questions that was shared in advance from Mike Bamani was he's imagining that during this period of time, you all have been finding new ways to communicate, new ways to keep in touch. His question was, have you found anything that has been so powerful or so meaningful that you're going to continue doing this, whether it's that weekly Tuesday night check-in, or it's another way of communicating, or another way of maybe working out or staying fresh when you're not on campus? Are there new things that you're finding that you've undertaken during COVID that you're going to maintain as we get into the school year and moving forward?
Yeah, so we've loved our Tuesday night calls. Those have been great, especially now that they've gotten later. Some of us are actually eating dinner while we're doing it, so we can have a meal together. But because during this time, we've had a lot more time on our hands. So we've been able to do, you know, virtual coffee and try and get engaged with freshmen. And we've had workout buddies. So we'll share, you know, sweaty selfies from our workouts when we're miles and miles away. So I think those things that we've tried to do apart would be great to do when we're together.
Now? Sorry,
Hello?
my screen just froze up
Sorry,
for a minute. I think I'm back. Can y'all hear me? So, Jeff, you've mentioned the idea of kind of bring on these freshmen and the challenge, and rightfully so, the challenge of trying to bring on a new set of freshmen when they haven't had the opportunity perhaps to train and engage the same way over the summer. Talk a little bit about what that process has been. How are you reaching out to the freshmen and providing that welcoming family atmosphere that Coach Randi, you talked about a few minutes ago, and that the volleyball team has been so great at fostering throughout the last few years?
I think a big part of it has been showing the family that we are and keeping them engaged with phone calls and showing that we are a family and that's what they're coming into, and sending them our workouts and sending them us working hard just kind of instills that in them. Also, when I was a freshman, I started making a list of things I wish I had known when I was a freshman. And so that list has grown quite a lot over the past few years. But I told them that I will be sending that their way the minute we find out when we're getting back, because it's quite a useful list. So just instilling our work ethic and our family, and making sure that they're all taken care of, especially during this weird time, making sure they know everything that they're going to need when they get to Wake.
I'm sure if we went around this call right now and asked everyone what they wish they knew when they were a freshman, when they were heading into school, that list of responses would be enough to, beyond fill a book, probably fill a library. Maybe we can get some comments thrown into that chat box on some things that we wish we knew, or advice we'd perhaps give to some of the freshmen. Randi, back to you. The same question from Mike Bamani about some different things that you're finding useful during this COVID time, whether it's things you're doing from a coaching perspective to get ready for the season, or a preparation perspective to get ready for the season, that you're finding yourself doing during this time because you're away and we want to be a little bit more on top of things, but now you're undertaking this process. It's something that you're going to stick with and maintain throughout the season or throughout future off seasons.
For sure, Gerard. I know we started doing a book. It's a book on attitudes and habits, and ultimately it's about leadership, but it's called Habitudes. It's 3 pages per chapter. We started it in January, and it is something that got cut short because of March 12th hitting us too soon into the book, but we meet with that book every week, and you can hear the staff will talk about it. We get this time to hear each other and not just be on a court. Of course, we miss the court. I'm dying inside because I miss the court, but it's been a great experience to actually see the girls, and we get to see what they look like at their house, in their bedrooms. We've got great inside stories because we'll see a picture like your drawings behind you. Those bring on a 5 to 10 minute conversation, and we see Maddie Holt sitting with a big C behind her, and we're assuming that's not your room, Maddie. What are you doing? So, and she gets to talk about, oh, I'm sitting on my sister's bed. So we get to actually take the time to learn more about everyone, and I know everybody sees on the newscast, somebody's dog will pop in, and so you just get to learn more about the person, which allows us to be able to talk to each other because we've taken the time to build those relationships. I watch too many videos. I mean, I watch too much volleyball for sure. There's videos that we watch. I'm tackling a lot of the videos of other teams in the country, of the teams that we respect, and why is this team passing so well? So my family's like, Mom, can you turn that off? I mean, it's on the TV all the time. Even my youngest plays volley and she's sick of it. So we watch a lot of volleyball.
Well, that's why we need to get the 3 Coaches and a Baby TV series up off the ground to give some distraction to us.
Perfect. If you could be a fly on the wall at the Hong's house these last few days, it's nonstop laughing.
I'm sure. Well, it also sounded like my kind of book too, 3 pages per chapter. That's kind of more my reading speed. I wish, talking about things that we wish we could maybe change when we went back to freshman year of high school, having my English lit class freshman year be a 3-page chapter book rather than the 30-page single space 0.4 font chapter books we had.
Right. We should give it to Ms. Jane Caldwell and encourage her to let professors use this type of book at Wake Forest.
I love it. So one last question, maybe just talking about this intermediate period, this COVID period, and the question comes from Dwight Lewis. Coach, and this is for Jacqueline as well, what are you most looking forward to when you get back? We've talked about all the things that we're doing now in this intermediate period and the ways that we're keeping in touch and the ways that we're keeping engaged and the number of volley films that we're watching right now and the game tapes that we're watching. Man, what are you most looking forward to when we get back to campus?
Jacqueline, I think you'd agree. I would say running 400s. I'm just kidding, Jack. Getting on the court, for sure. Getting on the court. Our January and February were so strong with what we were doing physically. We were changing mindsets, teaching the girls. We got after it on the track. We got after it in the weight room and just instilling in them that you have so much more to you and to keep pushing. And we were doing great things on the court. Once we started, we were implementing some things offensively. And, the majority of this team are Jacqueline's age. They're rising juniors and seniors, and they're finally at that place. I love it when Jacqueline said she took notes. I know she did. She took notes on what she wanted to tell the freshmen. So just the mentoring process that was going on, I can't wait to get that back on the court. And the girls are missing it. They can't wait to get back. So it's like when you have one of those practices that's about an hour, 45 minutes, it's a little short and they don't want to leave yet. That's how March was. It was just a little short. Everybody's ready to come back.
So Jack, you're ready to come back and run those 400s, it sounds.
Oh, I think my internet's no. Off of what Randy said, I think honestly everything. I miss everything. I can't wait. But we spend like 23 hours out of our days together. We eat our meals together. We're in class together. We're in tutoring together. We're on the court, and it's just all of a sudden out of the blue we were, ripped from that, and no court time, no meals, all of that. So I just can't wait to really get back, and especially having new people too. I feel like we're going to be so eager, to make that family again. We're probably going to get the biggest swoon of love ever that freshman classes have. So we're just very excited. Obviously excited for the pit. This is my cat that's sitting on my lap. And especially getting on the court, as Randy said, at the end of practices, it would be over and she would ask, oh, do we want to play one more set? And we were like, yes, let's play another game. Let's another game to 15. This spring was really big for us, and we were at a great point. And I know we're going to be there when we get back. So we just can't wait to get there.
Well, the passion and excitement that you each have and you show toward getting back is contagious throughout, I think, this call and really across the whole athletic department and campus. So as we kind of look forward to the fall, and this is where most of the questions that were submitted in advance kind of come around. Everyone just wants to know what to expect this fall. So Randy, starting with you, what can we expect this fall? What's the outlook for the season?
The expectations are big this fall, to be honest. We ended last fall really well. We are losing 3 great seniors, but they've left a mark that our returners they wear with a badge of honor in the work that Caitlin Della had, the love that Caroline Rossenfoss had, and just the determination that Caitlin Clark showed. That'll stick with all of us. And now it's time for this class to get going. So I think physically, when we get them, whatever that is, they're going to be ready to go. They've been doing a great job on their own, actually being really creative in their workouts. And I think their volleyball knowledge is at a really high place. And again, they're older. I think we're returning the best setter in the conference. And I am totally biased because I was a setter, but I think that Maddie's leadership and what she's going to be able to do her senior year is just going to lead the way for everyone. You've got Jacqueline, who's been ready to be back playing for forever. Caroline Kuhn, same thing. Everybody's just ready. Paige Sebesta is going to be a senior and is thrown her hat into the libero ring along with a very strong Allie Nielsen. So you've got girls that know what their north is, and everybody's on these phone calls on Tuesdays. It could have been a team that found excuses to not be there, or I have this, or I can't do it. That's not the case. They're ready. They want to get back in there. And I think if we stay healthy, and I'm knocking, I know you can see me, but my gosh, a healthy team for some time is just really what we're hoping for.
Jacqueline, a similar question came in, and some of you, and I appreciate that, some of you are sending in your questions privately over the chat bar as well. You can do that as well if you don't want everyone to see the comments or questions you're throwing out there. But this one from Caravan Doozy to you, Jacqueline. What's the most exciting part about next year's team? So kind of a similar question to what are you looking forward to, but as you're looking forward to the fall season, what's the most exciting part of the team as you're looking at the year?
For me, I would say I'm really excited for this senior class. I feel, we came in very, well, I'll say mature. There were 9 of us when we came in, so we had a loud voice. I don't know if that means mature, but we had a big voice. And I think over the past 3 years, we've really grown. We've been through a lot together. We've grown really strong together. We all know what we want from this team, and being seniors, especially now, we're kind of like bulls being held back, and then we're going to be let out of the gate, once this opens up. And I think we've been wanting this for so long, and for us, I don't know, there's 7 of us now, I think, but that's a big senior class, and that all want to go north, that all have a goal for the team, and that's incredibly exciting.
So Randy, you've mentioned this a few times, and I guess to follow up, Jacqueline, with your point about the seniors coming in together, and this is your year, and you have expectations, you have high goals for this year. What have you been doing as you're kind of stepping into this leadership role along with the other seniors in the class to provide that leadership to the rest of the team? You mentioned a little bit of the onboarding of the freshmen, but are there some kind of specific things that you're doing to just engage the team and ensure that everyone is kind of rowing in that same direction? Everyone is coming into this fall with the same set of high expectations that you've been laying out?
What's been great is having our group chats and being able to really, you know, a few of us who have transitioned, I think, earlier into leadership positions, have really just not only taken the underclassmen in, but also grabbed our other seniors, you know, by the hand and said, this is what we need to do. Like, as seniors, as this class, it's no longer, we don't have anyone else to look up to anymore, it's us. So I think the few of us grabbing not only the underclassmen, but the seniors and saying, this is where we're taking the team. And I think there's probably multiple, since there's so many of us in every one of our group chats. So it's really taking that charge to send the selfie or say what you're doing, ask how people are doing, and really just give your time right now, because that's really all we can. We can work hard at home, and even though other people might not see it, it's really just taking the time to engage with them and just make sure everyone's on board. So that's been great.
And I'll check with Jack here as well and say something that we started in the spring talking about, and it was the staff that said, you know, why do these two things have to be mutually exclusive? Can't we have high energy and high expectations at the same time, right? And you hear Jake talk about it. Expectations don't always love being in the gym. There's not a lot of energy, or vice versa. If it's high energy, it just seems like it's a rah, happy place to be without a lot of expectations. We want to do both. And as a staff, we told the team, what would it look like if the team was responsible for the expectations and we were responsible for keeping the energy up, keeping the practices going at a good pace? And man, that would be a team that would be fierce. It'd be a team that'd be fun to be on, and it would be a team that, and our goal is that everyone hates to play. So we're trying to teach the freshmen, the incoming kids just on these calls, you know, like, here's the expectation and here's what's coming your way. And that's one of our goals heading into the fall.
So Randy, that kind of touches on another question that we've gotten throughout the call, is what makes this year's team different from last year's team or some of the teams that you've been with the past few years? It sounds like just that understanding of expectation is part of the process, but are there other things that you can point to that differentiate the 2020 team from either last year or some of the previous couple of years?
Yeah, I would say just the sense of unfinished business. They've got things that they want to get done. They've got things that they want this program to be about. And I think that, you know, what we're doing at Wake is talking about our future. Here's what our future looks like. Here's what we want to have Wake Forest be. You know, we want to be stable. We want to be fierce. We want to be competitive. And, you know, they've talked about it. They've seen it. They've been in those matches where we've lost. You know, we lose by 2 points, and what can we do to make up the difference in those 2 points, you know, in a set, in every single thing that we do. So I think Jacqueline and this class they're ready. They're just ready for it. So it's definitely a different feel when you come into the gym. It feels like business, and it looks like they're really enjoying getting it done. So it doesn't look like it's a job coming in, right? It looks like they are smiling when they walk in. They're ready. They know the days that are going to be more taxing physically. Sometimes we surprise them with those days that are more taxing. But like Jacqueline said earlier, we'll ask at the end of the day, hey, you guys feel like we've got what we need to get done, or you want to go one more? And Jack, help me if I'm wrong, but I think like 90% of the time they want one more. There's been a couple where they're fried and they need to get going. But this team is just hungry, and they've got things that they want to do.
Also, a great thing we haven't seen yet is senior classes have been, you know, 3 kids, 2 kids since I committed here. And now we have such a big senior class. And during this whole quarantine, I think everyone's been able to really hone in on who they are, what kind of leader they are. You know, not everyone is going to be super vocal. Not everyone is going to be an organizer, or there's just so many different types. And normally we've had 3. So there's been, you know, 1 of each type of leader. But now with 7 of us, we have multiple of every type of leader, which I think is so powerful and really helpful for the younger girls, because it's not just, oh, this is the only person I can go to if I need this. It's, no, we can go to everyone. And everyone is really easy to talk to in the senior class. And I think that it's really powerful that we have so many different kinds. And even the juniors have stepped up, I think, a lot more than previous junior classes. So that's definitely different this year.
So clearly there's so much just positivity and positive energy surrounding this fall. But another segment of questions we've been getting has been about recruiting, and Randy touched on it a little bit at the start of the call. We talked about the TV show, and I've been watching Baby Vision throughout the course of the conversation, so that is Kate and leave the screen now. But a good number of questions, that's okay. A good number of questions did come in on just how you're going about recruiting in this period of time where you can't bring girls on campus and you're kind of operating from afar. Does it change some recruiting strategy? Does it alter the way that you share imagery of Wake Forest? What does recruiting look like during this COVID period of time?
It has made us very creative virtually. We're actually very fortunate. We've been done with the recruiting class for the 2020 class for 2 years. So the incoming seniors are done. We are mostly done for 21. We've got maybe one position that we'll look at if we feel like it's a good fit for us. So really, we've been looking at the young ones, the kids that are graduated in 22, and like I alluded to earlier, Monday was the first day we could talk to them, and I have never been on my phone FaceTiming so often. I pretty much carry a brush and a toothbrush with me, because you never know when that phone is gonna ring, and you got to be on camera. So we're getting lots of face-to-face time with the young ones, and it's great. Again, it's just great. You can see what they're like. You can see their mannerisms when you're just not talking on a phone with them. You're seeing how they react, what they've got in their environment, and there's families around them a lot of times, and it's fun to get to know them. And the other thing that we're doing is we're really relying heavily on our sports information department, because that's the way we have put out videos and ask kids, like our own team, really last second, hey, can you do a Zoom call, and we're going to tape it and we're going to make a video out of it, but how can we showcase the beauty of Wake Forest? How can we showcase the state-of-the-art facilities, and how can we show the staff and the program in who we really are? So we've been very creative, Gerard, very creative, and it's been fun. It's been like I said, our sports information department has been fantastic, and they probably are so sick of us. I'm a child of the 80s, and when all this hit, I said, we've got to do a video with all of our kids and their families singing Our House in the Middle of the Street, because that's where we all were. So, I think Lucy rolls her eyes at me every once in a while, and thank goodness that Becky and Jake are cooler than I am. But we've done some fun things and been really interactive.
If everyone on this call isn't following Wake Volleyball on Instagram and on social media, the social pushes that you all have had over these past, really it's been the past year, but these past few months have been unbelievably entertaining and, to your point, fun. Jake and Becky, so I've been trying not to make you guys talk, because I just don't want to disrupt the household, but I just have to ask. So you're on 30 recruiting calls a day. I'm sure getting sound sleep and everything. But what is life like? I mean, you all are operating on caffeine, I'm sure. Do you know what day it is? If I ask you what month we're in, do you have a good feel for what month we're in? I'm sure you do, because of recruiting season starting, but just share a little bit of what life's like for you guys right now.
I mean, I think it's been amazing. The number one reason we're here at Wake is because of Randy. We would not be doing this anywhere else with anyone else. We really believe that being assistant coaches kind of is like being a recruit in a way, because as you're in the profession longer and you get opportunities to go to different places, you look at what's important to you, and what you want to leave your legacy doing. And so as Jake and I kind of were looking at our future, Randi is who we wanted to work for and with. And Wake is a place that me and Jake both have always been intrigued by. Wake was actually my first recruiting phone call 1,000,000 years ago, from Heather Holmes, to be honest with you. And so it's always intrigued me. And Jake obviously was at High Point back in the day, so he was very familiar with it. And so, to be able to be raising Caden, coaching volleyball with Randi at Wake Forest University is honestly, we couldn't ask for anything else. We are with Randi 100% in the fact that like Wake has everything to be a top 25 program, and they just needed the right leader, and that's who Randi is. And so we're so excited to be here doing this. And I honestly don't think I could be doing this at any other job I've been at, if it weren't for Randi. We literally had Craig, her husband, and Jordan, her daughter, over here on Monday and Tuesday, babysitting Caden. And those are probably like the only other two humans he's spent. Like Jacqueline, he loves Jacqueline. Jacqueline's one of his favorites. She taught him how to dance when she visited. But he's barely seen people at all. And so Craig and Jordan just came over and said, okay, Caden, here we go. Like you're spending the days with us. And so that's how we were able to tackle, 15 hours of FaceTime calls with 16-year-olds. And, and I've never been part of a staff before where there's just such a flow of energy that starts with the head coach. I think our recruits that we're talking to in 2022 are just, I can't tell you how many text messages we've gotten back saying how this phone call has been their favorite phone call with our staff. And we've been getting really high level recruits on the phone, which is a starting point. It's ironic. Her daughter was watching Hunger Games. Jordan was watching Hunger Games while she was here. And it really fits with what's going on. You're just trying to make it to the next round, each time with these recruits. But, to have a head coach like Randi, who you can put on the phone with these 16-year-olds, and they just absolutely love their time with her. And they're so blown away by her, how personable she is and how knowledgeable she is. It takes such pressure off of the assistant coaches, because your head coach is someone that you're so proud of and able to sell. So it's been, our life has been easy. Like when life actually starts up, and we have to go into the office every day and to the gym every day, then ask us how it's going. But so far it's been really easy because, we don't have to really get him ready to go anywhere. The kid's been in the car probably 5 times in his life to go to the doctor. He's seen a total of 6 people. So right now it's been amazing just because of, quarantine is terrible and COVID is terrible, but from the perspective of getting to spend time with Caden, it's been amazing. And from the perspective of being where we want to be and working for who we want to work for at a university that's unbelievable and a team of girls. I've said this to every recruit we've talked to. I said, this is the most welcoming, most amazing group of young women that I've ever stepped foot into, where, they just embraced me and they embraced Jake. And I told them too, I'm like, when you have a coaching change, usually you have student athletes that leave, and here we had a team full of athletes that wanted to be here and were committed to building this program. Like Jacqueline has shared, a group of upcoming seniors who were committed to doing things that haven't been done yet with this program. And I think that's meant so much to us, that we have such, good relationships with each of these athletes, and that they're on board, even though it got hard in January and February and March, it wasn't easy, but that was the most fun I've had with them. Just because they were challenged and pushed, and how Randi challenges and pushes is special. She and obviously Jack would have to, she's on the receiving end, I'm on the coaching end, so I don't actually have to go through the workouts, but I feel like they walk away so proud of themselves for everything they've accomplished, versus they never feel belittled. They never feel, less than. They always walk away just more empowered. And so to be able to be part of that with these young women who are they are so intelligent and they are so driven. So it's been a blast for us to get to work with them. And then just even through COVID, getting to talk to them on the phone every week. I think it's helped me and Jake develop better relationships with them, just because instead of just seeing them every day in the gym, and then they're so busy. This is our first high academic school that we worked at. So it's legit. they need their time to study, so I think this has given us more time to get to know them. one-on-one and in small groups. So I'm grateful for that with COVID too, just getting to know them more, because they're forced to, they don't have a choice. We FaceTime them in groups or individually. And yeah, Jack, I mean, there was one week where I think she heard from me every day, sometimes just to catch up, sometimes because I needed her to do something for me. But yeah, sorry, I talked a lot, Jake.
What she said, it was good. No, honestly, again, it's we talk about family with all these recruits, and as we all know, you have to take action, right? And Randy took action right away with us. Instantly took us all in right away. There was no questions asked when we told Randy about the fact that our family was going to be growing.
She was the second person.
Yeah, she literally was like, besides our families, it was Randy, was the next person. So again, we're so blessed to be here. It was so blessed to be part of this program, part of this university. We can't ask for any other place to be at right now. Again, especially in our stage of our lives right now, there's no other place that we want to be doing this. So again, we're blessed to be here. We're excited. We're excited to get back in the gym with all the girls, and excited to see what the future holds for Wake Forest.
So powerful, and I can't get over how well behaved Caden is. This is unbelievable. No crying. We gotta lower the volume. Jacqueline, so Becky brought up a really good conversational point on what it's like just attending Wake Forest University, where you do have high expectations, as you've spoken about, high expectations of yourself athletically, but there's high expectations in the classroom as well. And you're coming off a semester where you finished classes online, which was different and I'm sure a challenge in a lot of ways. And you're also entering a year where the conversation about what's next starts coming up. I'm sure a question that you've gotten a lot from your parents over the last few months of being close to home. But the idea of internships and career networking and career paths on top of the academics and athletic expectations that you place on yourself. If you don't mind, just spend a few minutes talking through both what it was like last semester academically, working from home and learning what it was like to take classes online, and also how you've been trying to filter in some ideas or thoughts around life after Wake Forest.
So Zoom became our best friends when we changed over to after spring break. But classes went really well last semester. All of my teachers were just amazing. Some weren't the best at technology, but they did what they could, and everything was very, whatever tailored to us. So a lot of my teachers changed a lot of things, made things due a lot later, and even if you missed a due date, it was very lenient on, get it in by this time. We're going to work with you on what we can do. Some things that were great were a lot of my finals were changed to tailoring to what was going on currently. So I had a final that changed about social media and COVID-19. I had finals change about how households have changed because of COVID-19. So it was just great to see how, it's not always about just cramming all the information in and making sure that you know everything to take a final. It's really about, learning what's going on in the world and how they can take care of us and get that information in. And that was great. And I think, I just saw that. But I think next steps for me, I'm doing an internship right now with a public relations firm in Washington, D.C. And even though I was supposed to be living in D.C., that's now remote, again, thanks to technology. So that's really great. And I think it does a good job, especially with the athletics program, just teaching you time management, how not even teaching time management, but you have at this time you can have study, and there's so much support around making sure you can uphold your academics while upholding your athletics. So it was definitely weird transitioning to online school because we didn't have that athletic demand and our teachers were being lenient. So we were kind of in this little limbo of what's going on, but really well. And I'm looking forward to the season. And as I'm doing my internship now, that might be a possible what's next.
That's great. And, that might answer the next question that was sent in as well. And, y'all are probably getting in here on the last maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so. So if you do have any other thoughts or questions, again, feel welcome to either privately chat them my way or put them in the open chat to everyone. But Josh Sokoloff had asked, and again, you may have just answered this question, had asked what the biggest obstacle has been that you've had to overcome, Jacqueline. So take that however you want. It might be on the volleyball court. It might be academically. It might be somewhere else outside of Wake Forest altogether. But talk through the biggest obstacle, perhaps, that you've had to overcome.
Okay, that is a good question. The biggest obstacle I've had to overcome, my freshman year here, I actually tore both my patella tendons at the same time, which was a delight. And so my sophomore year, I actually had them both tear 6 or 8 weeks apart. So I medical redshirted my sophomore year and spent, 8 months out of volleyball, which for someone who's been playing since they were 10 is a little rough, to say the least. But, I think as hard as that was, and, once spring started, so I got my first surgery in September, my second one in November. And in the spring, I started, rehab 4 hours a day, 2 hours on each leg to back. And that was definitely probably the obstacle I've had to overcome so far. But how I feel now and how my body feels now is just incredible. Like, not having knee pain was shocking to me. So, and I think that it taught me so much in those 8 months of just not being able to do anything, taught me a lot about, obviously it just really enforced how much I love volleyball, how big it has been in my life. But it also showed me, volleyball is only, through college. What am I going to do after? That was something I never thought about. And all of a sudden I had all this time to sit and think about, I guess if this were to happen and I, were to have to retire, what would I do? So it really gave me a lot of time to reflect. And also, there's a whole different appreciation for the game when you've been out that long. So like Randy was saying, as much as 400s are so great, there were times this spring where, we'd finish running 5 400s and I would just, cry because I couldn't run for 8 months. And it just was like, it can just show how powerful some things are when they've been taken away from you. So it was very, as hard as it was, I know that there was a reason for it, for sure.
And it sounds like you came out much stronger following that, Jacqueline. Credit to you. So, Randy, I was going to ask you the same Barbara Walters 2020 hard-hitting question of the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome, but Mike Muse might have let you off the hook here. He wants to know more about recruiting and understanding what the right fit is for Wake Forest volleyball. As you are going through the process of looking at these 2022s, what are you looking for? What determines what the right fit is for the program that you've been building here?
Yeah, good question. For sure, they've got to be a great volleyball player. Physically, got to know how to play the sport is what gets our foot in the door with them. The next thing we want to do, and I learned this my younger years of coaching. I used to think that I could teach kids to love the game and to love to compete. And to teach them to be all these things. And I learned that just because a kid touches, can grab the rim and touch 10-3 doesn't necessarily mean that she's the right fit. So we look for the players that want to build something. And recruiting the last 3 days and say it all the time on the phone, it just comes out so naturally now. We want players that are proud to build something. You'll hear Jake say, we want kids that are honored to wear Wake Forest and represent what we want, and to want to be the first team that gets this program into playoffs, to want to be the first team at Wake Forest that does things. There's a lot of things that are ahead of us that aren't going to come easy. So we're looking for kids that have that blue collar mindset, who will get in and do the work and not want to take the easy way out. So for us, the right fit, it's the body of work. It's who they are as a person. It's how they are as an athlete. And I think that my recruiting philosophy, if I have to curse at a kid to make them play well, we haven't done our job recruiting, right? Like, I don't want to have to light a fire and belittle kids to make them go do a sport that they've loved for years. We want to find the players that are like-minded and love a challenge. I tell me no, right? Like, if my goal is to be told no once a day, it means I'm asking the right questions. So we do want to find those players. And again, somebody who's going to be really proud to be a part of what we're doing.
And Dwight, echo your excitement. It just feels contagious throughout this conversation, the level of just energy toward the volleyball program and the outlook for next year. I can't wait. I can't wait till we get back to campus. I can't wait until these little 2x2 squares on the screen here are us all getting together in person and us cheering on the team on the court and seeing all these folks here and all the letters and the initials on the screen here show up in person. It's going to be well worth the wait, I'm sure, as we head into the fall. The last few minutes here, there have been a handful of questions that have come in that have kind of gone a little bit more into the specifics of the fall. Understand the schedule for this fall, question about spectators at games, understanding what kind of precautions are being taken around COVID. Randy, maybe we can just spend a minute or two talking about what we know about this fall, understand that there is still a lot that needs to be determined and needs to be understood. Have we been receiving any guidance, whether it's from the ACC or Wake Forest, Ellie Shannon, and some of our internal folks that are looking into competition for fall play? What are you hearing?
Good timing, because our coach's call with John Curry this morning, we can put out our schedule. So we got the okay to put out our schedule today. So that'll come up. I think Lucy's on this call too. So our awesome sports information gal, and heads up, Lucy, we're going to be really busy. So we see what we have bi-weekly meetings with the coaches in the ACC. They don't want to change anything. Their goal is to keep everything as it is. And I know for us, for Wake, we've not had to cancel anything. Our first weekend, we're up at Green Bay. The next weekend, we're at Towson University. The third and the fourth weekends we are hosting, so we get to come back home. And then we open up ACC after those 4 weekends. So as far as we know right now, everything is staying. We're planning accordingly. We already have bus trips and tickets for flights. So we're going to stay healthy, and we're going to wear our masks around the town and around campus. And we're going to be healthy and strong. And I don't know anything about fans yet. That hasn't been determined. From what I've heard at the ACC level, it's going to be a university by university decision. So that was last week, but things change, every couple days with all this information. So as far as I know, everything's staying the same. That's what we're pulling for, and we'll make a decision. I guess the universities will make a decision as it gets closer to game time.
I appreciate that, Randy. And again, just for a little bit more, I'm sorry? Just for a little bit more background. So there's an internal Wake Forest athletics committee that does continue to look into and work with the ACC and North Carolina state guidance on things like what Randy mentioned, the wearing of the masks and social distancing, how many folks we'd want to have gathered at one place. If we had to compete today, I think the current guidance is we'd be maxed out at 50 maybe. I think that's what the North Carolina current guidance is, but knowing that's going to continue to evolve, or hoping that that will continue to evolve as we get into August and September. And some folks led by Ellie Shannon, whom some of you may know, continues to work with those local laws and the ACC and fine-tuning all that planning for this fall. I'm going to, Randy, let you maybe have the last words here in a minute or two, but I'll just thank you for one, being on this call and continuing your support of the volleyball program and following us and following the team on social media. And so many of you are vocal in your support, your giving in your support, giving of your time, giving finances to invest in our student athletes like Jacqueline on this call. And just, we appreciate you from the entire athletic department. We appreciate all you do to invest your energy and excitement around the future of the Wake Volleyball program, which, as you can see from this call, is bright and has many of us looking very much forward to what's to come both this fall and beyond. Randy, I'll let you close us out here with some final words of wisdom that I'm sure you have.
Wow, pressure, the pressure. Thanks everybody for being on this. It's so great to see so many faces. Fun to see Professor Dostal on the call. I love when you're on the sidelines blowing things up. So thank you all for your support. Like Gerard said, the team, oh, I love it. That's perfect. You know, what we're trying to build at Wake, it's the girls and it's Gerard and it's everybody around and Dwight Lewis. I mean, you name it. But what really matters is your guys' support, because I know we've been through a lot and I know that this history has been anything but steady. But what we love is that we have a future and that we are the future, and you guys being supportive are huge, because that sense of family is what we need. And even especially times like this, with what's going on in the world, with what's going on with COVID, to have just you guys around us. It's great seeing everybody in the stands. It's great having you guys like stuff on social media, and it's amazing the support that you give in your gifts. It goes to some great girls, I promise. And we're gonna build this program, and it's gonna be a place that everybody's just proud to be a part of. And I would like to say hello to my mom, who's in California. I had to wake her up early and tell her to get on this call. So just thanks across the country and across the world for calling and for all you guys. And we miss you a lot. All the parents that are on this call, can't wait to see you guys. Miss your kids too.
Randy, thank you. Becky, Jake, thank you. Let me know when you need a coffee break or a coffee insulation there. Jacqueline, your leadership, your inspiration to all of us here is well known and appreciated. Thank you all. Look forward to seeing you all this fall. Go Deeks.
Go Deeks.